earning season, then the monsoon progress is something, of course, that we will, of course, be watching out for as well. But on that note, let me bring on board Ajit Mishra, who's the Senior VP Research at Religare Broking. Ajit, great to have you on the show. But, before we move on to the markets, I want to get in your thoughts on what was going on in your mind when, we were at a stage when, South Africa needed just 30 runs from 30 balls. Did you give up, or did you also, stay glued to your television and did not switch off the television just like me? What did you do?
Yeah, good morning, Namita. Namita, in fact, I've lost hope much earlier because the way, after losing 2 wickets, South Africa was still advancing very strongly, and they were hitting like, every ball out of the ground. So it seems like that, it's going to be a difficult task for India to curtail with, 176 as a total. But finally, when I've heard that in the morning that we could do that, though this was a nail-biting experience, those who have watched the match to the end. So this shows that, in case if you are consistent in your, approach, eventually you get the success. And that is what we see in the markets also.
Right. I think there are some lessons that we can learn from the men in blue, when it comes to trading, investing as well, right? Life lessons from sports, that's, something that we can take away from the men in blue, resilience and, of course, never give up attitude. But talking about the Nifty now, no great cues coming in from GIFT Nifty. We are staring at a fairly muted start, but 24,000. Do you think that will act as a major support or hurdle rather on the upside for the Nifty, or do you think we could see some bit of cool off, and profit taking, of course, has kicked in already? So, what are the kind of levels on the downside you'll be watching out for, and 24,000 on the upside? Do you think that will remain intact this week?
So, Nanita, last week was a strong close for the indices. Not only in the terms of gains, but we've tested new milestones for the Nifty since it's also in closure to 80,000 mark. So the good part is that the laggards, which were like slightly in the sidelines, like banking, IT, FMCG, they have started participating now. The sectors which were doing already well, they are slightly on the sidelines, like auto, energy, metal, pharma. But I see now that after banking, because in the last two trading session, banking was slightly, witnessing a bit of profit taking the higher levels. So I feel there could be a bit of a consolidation in the market right now, but the tone is likely to remain positive because IT and FMCG is something that we believe should pitch in after, banking to help this index to inch toward 24,500 levels in days to come. So the tone looks positive. I feel that 23,600, which was earlier the resistance, should act as a support. So 23,600, 23,400 is the zone where market will continue to find support in case if there will be any profit taking. And eventually, we are eyeing 24,500 plus zone in the coming days.
Okay, those are the levels to really watch out for. But want to get in your thoughts on the auto pack, right? Auto sales figures will be announced today. In fact, they will start trickling in today itself. And autos, have seen intermittent bouts of profit taking, all through the last week. We had bouts of profit taking, names like Bajaj Auto, Hero Moto. They did see some bit of pressure, right? So, for this week, anything on charts that's catching your attention, both in terms of four-wheelers as well as two-wheelers?
So, right, we were discussing about the key sectors like auto, energy, material, pharma, taking up either when banking has started performing, but the tone is still positive, means the auto index is still holding above its short-term averages. That indicates that it's a healthy consolidation of profit taking that we are seeing in the sector. And similarly, we are seeing a move across the board, be it the four-wheeler or two-wheeler names. But in case of a rebound, I feel that the preference should be given to the names which are already started, witnessing recovery, while the index is still slightly on the sideline. So the top three names could be Hero Motoko, TVS and Tata Motors. It's not that Bajaj Auto and Maruti, I'm sure they are negative, but I feel there could be outperformance from these three names.
Okay, and what about Reliance Industries? Gained somewhere around 9% or thereabouts in the last 5 sessions. Market cap has topped that 21 lakh crore rupee mark. More upside here, 3,500 maybe in the next couple of months. Is that a possibility?
it's almost like 3 months of consolidation, which went did last week with very strong price action and volume as well. So yes, I won't be surprised that if we test 3,500 levels in coming weeks, and now we have a strong base at 3,000 mark. So in case if you have any position, you should stay put. And in fact, one can look for a buying opportunity also in case if it consolidates in the range of 3050 to 3,100 levels. So definitely 3350 first and then 3,500 seems quite possible in the near future.
Hmm. What about Bharti Airtel? How is that looking on the charts? We've had this tariff hike, which was already being talked about quite a lot. It has come about now. Chartically, if you look at Bharti Airtel, last 5 days, 3% kind of an up move, but it is close to that 1500 level, right? So here, would you say that there could be more room for leg up?
In fact, my view is slightly different because, as you rightly mentioned, that there were talks on tariff hike, and since it finally happened now, so I think there is a possibility that we may see some profit taking first, and that is what we saw in the last earnings session in both Bharti Airtel and Vodafone Idea. That after the initial uptick, the stock drifted lower and ended with the marginal cut. It's a normal and healthy profit taking, and I feel that any dip towards, let's say, 1400 to 1380 zone would be the area where one can look for fresh buying. So in case if you have an existing position, you may book profit at current levels and wait for an dip or consolidation to re-enter.
Another stock that's on my radar is Navin Fluorine. The company will, raise funds, to the tune of 750 crore rupees via QIP or other modes. But if you look at the stock performance, in the last 1 month, it seems to have fired up a bit, right? A 10% kind of gain. Chemical stocks, I think, have not had a very good run. As you all know, they haven't really been able to, show any big moves. But the momentum that it has seen over the last 1 month, would you expect it to continue here on?
So in fact, not only Navin Fluorine, the others, chemical names also, they have witnessed decent recovery. So as you rightly mentioned, they have not participated much in this recent run. But since we have started seeing, rotational buying across sectors and themes, we expect this recovery to strengthen further. For Navin Fluorine, since the stock has already reclaimed its major averages, we expect the stock to hold this 3,500 mark on the closing basis to maintain this momentum and eventually inch toward 41,000, 4,200 levels. So overall, yes, possibility of maintaining this positive up move seems high. One can continue to hold with 3,500 being the stop.
All right, there you go, the opening bell. Ajit, let me first ask you, what would you be recommending for our viewers, in terms of stock picks for the next couple of weeks?
As we were discussing that metals after the consolidation are again look for the next leg of the up move, but one needs to be selective. Wherein Hindalco didn't participate much on the downside, and after forming a base in the last 2 weeks is again set for a up move. So Hindalco could be one name where one can look for fresh trades with 715, 720 as a positional target and 685 as a stop. Another name that we like is from the FMCG basket, like IT and FMCG, the two sectors that we are keeping a close eye on. So Imami, after a very sharp up move for almost 2 weeks, 3 weeks, it's been trading in a very narrow range. And today it's has started inching higher. So we expect this consolidation to end now. And those who are looking for fresh momentum, especially in the FMCG space, can look for fresh buying in Imami. 695 is something that one should maintain as a stop, and please 760 to 770. That should be our positional target.
Those are the recommendations coming in from Ajit. Ajit, hold that thought. We'll get back to you and talk about specific stocks. And let's go back to Ajit then, who's been waiting by. Ajit, before I come to our queries, Garden Reach, I mean, there's no stopping this stock, right? In the last 1 month, it has gained almost 60%. Today as well, hit a fresh 52-week high. How is the risk reward really looking when it comes to this particular stock?
It's been almost 90-degree kind of surge that we are seeing in the stock. So obviously the risk reward not favorable. We have hardly seen any consolidation. There was a day of pause, in between this entire move. But in case if somebody is already in, then they can continue with the momentum. So as per the intraday charts, closer to around 2150 is a zone where they maintain their stop losses and keep on telling their stop losses on rise. But fresh buying, one should wait.
Okay, avoid fresh buying into GRSE as of now. But let's move on to our queries then. The first one coming in from Peter Williams. He wants to know whether it's a good time to invest in IBCA Labs at the current juncture. If you look at the stock, it has been fairly quiet, right? At a time when the markets have been rallying. No big moves. Last 1 month, hardly a percent kind of returns. Should one look at this particular name within the pharma pack, or would you suggest some other name?
So, see, in pharma, IBCA Lab has done pretty well. In fact, it's the almost 2 month kind of corrective phase that we have been seeing in the stock after retesting its record highs. Is basically seeing this decline. But if let's say the view is long term, I feel that we have better candidates to look at. So, Dr. Reddy's, Davis, Sun Pharma, Lupin, there are some of these names which one can look at. But yes, if the view is shorter duration, then the risk reward is much favorable in IBCA, considering that we have already seen decent correction and there's a possibility of a decent rebound from the current level. So close to around 1080, 1050, one can maintain the stop and gradually it can inch towards the previous record high, that is around 1300, 1350 zone.
Okay, that's the view then on IBCA. Hope that answers your query. The next one is coming in from Vignesh. He wants to know your thoughts on a Happiest Minds. He wants to know if he can expect a dip around 740 levels, for accumulation. At the current juncture, the stock is somewhere around 823. In the last 1 month, IT stocks have seen good traction, but on a YTD basis or even on a 6-month basis, IT stocks, of course, were under pressure. Within the mid-cap IT names, how is Happiest Minds stacking up on the charts?
I feel Anta, his view is certainly on the long side, means with 1-2 year kind of time horizon, because the stock has been underperforming the entire basket for almost 2-3 years now. That it made a high around the 1500 plus zone in 2021 September, and since then we have been seeing that it's gradually drifting lower. So yes, if your view is for 2-3 years, and if you are planning to accumulate, because what we have observed is that on the downside also the base is capped, so it's around 780, 720 zone where the stock has been getting decent amount of buying traction. So if that's the case, then yes, you can wait for a dip towards 780, 760 zone. Maybe in week or 10 days, or in case if it witnesses a close above 940 also, then also you should get into a trade, because then it might trigger fresh momentum in Happiest Mind. But otherwise, if somebody is looking for stocks which are already in traction, then Birlasoft is a better candidate to look at.
What about KPIT Tech? K Naga has written in, wants to know your thoughts on this stock. Naveen Fluorine, of course, we've already discussed. So, Mr. Naga, if you really want, an opinion on Naveen Fluorine, you may go back in the feed and see where we spoke about Naveen Fluorine. But KPIT Tech, today it's up 4%, and this stock has been an outlier, right, within the mid-cap IT space. So, should one look at this particular counter now, KPIT Tech?
Yes, certainly. See, KPIT, the good part is that it didn't participate much on the downside also. In fact, it has been outperforming the entire space, with hardly any major price-wise correction, and it's again set to retest record highs. So it speaks volume that it's in strong hands, and if somebody is planning any fresh trade, so Birlasoft, KPIT Tech are the better candidates to look at. So for KPIT now, that 1600 is a fresh base now. So that should be the stop. It might take a breather around the record high, that is the 715 area. But overall, the way we have been seeing, the traction continuing, I expect the stock to inch toward 1900, 2000 levels in the coming weeks. So yes, you can hold longs, you can buy fresh with 1600 being the stop.
All right, to keep a stop loss at 1600. Hope that answers your query. Last query really for the day. This one is coming in from Mira, and she wants to know your thoughts on an IEX. Now, this stock, has been fairly buoyant today as well, at day's high now, very close to 52-week highs itself. 3% up move right now. Any advice here?
So Mira, definitely you should stay put. If you have any existing position, you can buy fresh also. Again, it's been out of major consolidation after spending almost 2.5 years in a very tight range, and now we've started seeing traction, which is gradually the stock has been inching higher while forming base of the short-term averages. So if the view is very short-term, then 175. If the view is, let's say, for medium to long term, then 165. That should be the stop zone area, and upside around 220 to 240. So the risk reward is favorable, definitely favorable from short to medium term perspective. You should definitely stay put.
All right, that's the view on IEX. Hope that answers your question, Mira. And this wraps up our query segment for today. And of course, Ajit, it was awesome chatting with you as always. Look forward to more chats, and thanks a lot for sharing your thoughts on where the markets are headed, on of course giving us stock recommendations as well, and helping our viewers navigate their holdings as well. Look forward to our next chat. Have a great day.
Same to you. Thanks.
Well, on that note, of course, leaving the market in good stead, we have picked up pace. In fact, we are at the high point of the day now. 24,075 is where we are at, almost 0.3% kind of gain coming in. Mid caps also moving in tandem with benchmarks. 0.5% gain coming in there. The Nifty Bank Index, which had a very iffy start, has also managed to claw back, and it's now higher by about almost 150 points. Autopac, of course, in the driver's seat today, and also doing well are metals. But with that, we are completely timed out on this edition of Opening Bell. Thanks a lot for tuning in. Have a great day, and stay tuned to Money Control for all your other news and updates.